Hello, I'm Dike Rostant. Welcome back to the TTT News. We continue to look at the evolving landscape fueled by ways to function efficiently during the COVID-19 pandemic and beyond. It is time to go in depth on an initiative called EduTalk with Chairman Samuel Strann and Director Ronald Mootoo. Welcome, gentlemen. I want to start with you, please, Mr. Strann. What is the history of EduTalk?
Good evening, Mr. Rosant, and good evening, Trinidad and Tobago. It's really a pleasure to have us here, Mr. Mootoo and myself. And just to say that EduTalk was formalized in February of this year, but it goes way beyond 2021. A few years ago, in 2015 to be exact, we felt that there was a greater need for collaboration. There was a greater need to get stakeholders together. And as a result of that, I started reaching out to persons. Mr. Mootoo was one of those persons, school supervisors, persons in the ministry, and to see how we could really make a difference in education in Trinidad and Tobago, recognizing the importance of all the stakeholders coming together. So as a result of that, I started discussion, lengthy discussion, visiting different district offices, also being on the road with Dr. Francis and Mr. Wayne Cupid from time to time, trying to foster, trying to bring that relationship together. Last year, when the pandemic hit, again, persons were home, nothing to do. And we thought, why not start something? So we started a discussion. Again, I called on Tutor, on NAPSPA, and apps at the time. Mr. Mootoo was the president of the Caribbean Principals Association and also the president of the Principals Association of Secondary Schools in Trinidad. And they all liked the idea. And as a result of that, we started the discussion. And so today, EduTalk, as I said, would have started in discussion, not by name, but by idea. And so in February, we came together as a group and decided, let us take this to the next step. So we formed a board looking to now formalize everything as an NGO. And so at the end of the day, we have been creating a platform where stakeholders could really come together and discuss the issues in education, but most importantly, to find solutions to those issues. So the history is rich, very rich. And as I said, I want to thank many persons within the Ministry of Education for believing that this is a vision, this vision could be realized by supporting all the idea and then coming on the platform to really embrace what we have been doing for the last year and a half or so.
But I appreciate the fact that you speak to the fact that it started with an idea, but for an idea to take root and to spread its wings, as it were, you have a lot of collaborations and partnerships that are necessary. And your motto actually speaks to committed to education through collaboration. So tell us about some of those collaborations, please, Mr. Mootoo.
Yes, good evening, everyone. Good evening to your viewership, sir. And thank you very much on behalf of EduTalk for having us here to speak on and on behalf of EduTalk. Our motto, yes, is committed to education through collaboration. And our vision is to provide that safe environment where our various stakeholders can meet and collaborate and develop solutions to educational problems. Our mission is to be the catalyst that provides that safe, the foundation for that safe environment. We aim to educate, we aim to train, we aim to reach out and make partnerships, form partnerships with the various stakeholders in education and those who have common goals as we do regarding education. We have a long history really of stakeholder involvement. The very board of EduTalk is made up of a number of stakeholders. Our primary stakeholders who appear on our programs every Sunday evening, NAPSPA, the National Primary Schools Principals Association, and of course the primary school teachers and principals, tutor, the Trinidad and Tobago Unified Teachers Association, and our teachers who are part of tutor and principals, school supervisors also, various parental organizations and parents. We even include our students. We have our students represented, their voices are heard. Members of the ministry through the personnel of the SSSD, Student Support Services Division, guidance officers, social workers, etc. We do work closely also with our health care professionals. In this pandemic, it was necessary to educate and inform our stakeholders about the necessities of the various COVID protocol. So we have had engagement of healthcare professionals. We aim as we grow to cement these relationships and of course expand to other educational bodies, the CXC, the Minister of Education herself and other technocrats, the Services Commission. So we are hoping that we grow, that it takes root, that we are able to edify and educate our stakeholders so that we all can participate in the various decision making and the growth and development of the education system to the benefit of our main stakeholders, our students.
And thank you so much for that, Mr. Mootoo. But in terms of cementing those relationships, Mr. Strann, what are some of the things that EduTalk aims to do? And I asked that question also listening to what Mr. Mootoo was saying about safe spaces. Because sometimes it's good when you have various stakeholders, you get an idea of what is going on. But at the same time, if something is happening in one way, it can be a little hard sometimes to change it to something that may be a little more efficient, something that may be a little more goal-oriented. So what does EduTalk aim to do? What's the main focus?
Well, at the end of the day, and thank you again, Mr. Rostant, that EduTalk really creates an opportunity for our stakeholders to learn and grow. And that's why we say a safe space where knowledge is shared, but also where persons are not bashed. We are accustomed where some meetings like these or programs like these sometimes have a bashing session where our educators are being bashed left, right, and center. And we didn't want that at all to happen on this program. We wanted our principals to feel safe when they come to the program, that they could discuss if they have questions, they could ask the question, and also have experienced persons to be able to assist them in those areas. That is why you will see, as Mr. Mootoo would have read out earlier, we are big with stakeholder involvement. Hence the reason why we embrace school-based management so much, because at the end of the day, we believe that the Ministry of Education has something wonderful that it has established. The architects have already designed it, and we are now just trying to implement it, because at the end of the day, we believe it is really the roadmap to success in education in Trinidad and Tobago.
In terms of that Sunday, I want to say Sunday school. You spoke about Sunday, Mr. Mootoo. How do people tune in? How do people engage? How do people get some of these ideas and the differing views, or the various views rather, that you help facilitate? Is it that it's on Facebook? Is it on YouTube? How do people tune in and get this?
Yes, Dike. We have our Facebook page, and it's simply called EduTalk Voice. So you simply type in EduTalk Voice on Facebook and you'll see us. And the Facebook page has all the material information. It has our WhatsApp number. It has our Zoom link for those Sunday evening programs. And it has a history, really, of all of the programs. It has a contact number and all of the information that is needed to contact us, to join us, is there on our Facebook page. And soon we are hoping YouTube channel and other various links, websites, etc.
All right, thank you so much for that, Ronald, Mootoo, and Samuel Strann. We are speaking with the gentlemen of EduTalk, or if you're looking for them on Facebook, it is EduTalk Voice. We take a short break. When we return, we start to speak about some of the achievements of EduTalk. Stay with us. Welcome back. We are speaking about EduTalk with Samuel Strann and Ronald Mootoo, the chairman and director respectively. Now, I really appreciate, before we went to break, Mr. Strann, you spoke about not bashing the educators, not bashing the education system, because many times you do that and you build a wall that is very hard to overcome in terms of getting things forward. But what are some of those achievements, those things that you have already seen that are working in the favor as a result of EduTalk being something that was officially formed now?
Well, I'll start and then Mr. Mootoo will join in as well. Now, when we started, we realized that, we were having persons of not just educators, but parents and even persons from outside of Trinidad and Tobago. And so what we did, we created a platform and looking at different things that we could do. One of the things we did, we created what is called a health corner. And Mr. Mootoo alluded to it earlier, where we felt that you cannot really have a flowing education system and leave health out of the equation, especially since we're in the pandemic. But we didn't just look at things that were happening during the pandemic in terms of COVID. We look at, obesity. We look at, dieting. Those are things that we felt that at the end of the day, that as a family, those things needed to be looked at because you're home, you're locked away. And at the end of the day, exercise, all those things were very important. So we brought different persons on the platform to look at health from time to time. And so we have created the health corner. We also have created the principals corner. In Trinidad and Tobago, we spend a lot of time, as I said, bashing. We look at the negative. What we have done on EduTalk is created the principals corner where principals could highlight the success stories within their school, whether you're highlighting a student, a teacher, auxiliary staff, or even within the community that you exist. Because at the end of the day, we need to start to highlight successes within the education system because there are many. But, and here's where now we are also calling on the media to really play a part in really supporting our education, our schools in highlighting the success stories and not just the negatives. I'll pass on to Mr. Mootoo now and continue, and then I'll come back.
Yes. So I want to say that, as our motto, as you alluded to earlier, Dike, is committed to education through collaboration. To say it differently, slightly differently, we are hoping to create an education revolution, but through evolution. So we are not here to disrupt the system, to stop the system in any way. And therefore, our achievements, which have been many, and I just go through a couple, is that we have provided training for our principals, our teachers, our parents, and others by having discussions on the school-based management model, SBM model. We had invited one of the authors of the model, Ms. Claire Telemark, onto our platform, and she created healthy discussion for all of us for a number of weeks, actually. We have supplemented curriculum delivery. Given the pandemic, we thought it was wise to share with our students curriculum delivery itself. And would you believe it? Those are the times when we had these curriculum workshops, these curriculum sessions, that our platform was overfilled and we had to find alternative means of streaming the information. So we have achieved that goal of providing education for our students. We have made presentation and consultations with our various stakeholders, tutor, and especially NAPSPA, the Primary Schools Principals Association. We have achieved near 1 year of continuous programs whereby we were building capacity for when we, of course, launch our website and launch our YouTube channel. And very importantly, Dike, we are close to getting our NGO status, which would allow us to engage in a more visible and public manner with not only educational stakeholders, but other stakeholders as well. So these are just some of the achievements that we have, encountered over our short journey thus far.
And really
I
something
want
to
to
be
add as
proud
well.
of. But Mr. Mootoo, I feel like give me a little something to just hold, in terms of not wanting to disrupt the system. There needs to be some level of disruption or in order to go forward. And I'm sure you would be seeing things that, let's not call them shortfalls, things that can be improved upon or done a little differently, tweaked. What are some of those tweaks that you'll see or has come up in these meetings that can take the education system in Trinidad and Tobago forward a bit?
Right. So there are many actually. Our goal as a country is to achieve, quote unquote, that first world status. And, our education system must be the train for that to occur. And what we see as one of the foundation of educational changes to ensure equity. It is a buzzword, and it is one we want as EduTalk. We want for that buzzword equity to be meaningfully employed. So we want more equity in the educational opportunities afforded to our students so that all our students and all our schools must be adequately resourced. Those resources are physical resource and human resources, and in today's 21st century, electronic resources. So many schools, simple example, we do PE as part of the curriculum. Many schools don't have an auditorium then, nor a play field. So where are we going to perform this PE and such curricula? And of course, we want to see equity in the educational opportunity afforded across the board. Many students currently in the pandemic, when we are using online teaching and learning, are unable to access because of the rural nature of their domicile. So we are saying that whether you're from the town or whether you're from the country, whether you are in the upper strata or the lower strata of the society, there must be equity and there must be resources to provide that equity for our students. We want more meaningful engagement by the various stakeholders in education. So we are not saying that the Ministry of Education is not reaching out, but we want more. We want more meaningful and widespread collaboration with the practitioners and other interested groups like EduTalk, with the ministry, with the services commissions, between school and parents, for instance.
And with that in mind, I want to carry it over to Mr. Strann, possibly to embellish what it is you've been saying, but also to give us closing arguments with about a minute more, and possibly even involve some of the future projects that you have on hand with EduTalk.
Well, as Mr. Mootoo said, and we are embracing that change is timely, change is difficult at times, but what we are doing at EduTalk is really providing a platform where information is free flowing, and we are asking the Ministry of Education to join us, even the committee that was set up by the Prime Minister. We'd like to engage them on EduTalk to share some of the ideas that we have. But most importantly, Mr. Roshan, we must embrace our parents. EduTalk is determined to ensure that parents have a greater understanding of the education system so they're better able to help their children at home. We have been asking parents to really help, but we're not providing them with the tools to do so. So at EduTalk, we are seeking to do so. So some of the things we are looking forward to doing as we move forward is to have greater collaboration, not just in Trinidad, but the Caribbean, as we have been doing before. At the end of the day, EduTalk wants to make sure that whatever is happening in education, that all stakeholders at the school level, that there's establishment of a district SBM team, which is a school-based management team, and a national team. Too often there's discussion and the students are left out of the conversation. There's no student on the committee that was set up. And
we want to thank you, but we want to thank you for including students and the parents, making sure teachers are there, educators. So it is a holistic effort. Samuel Strann and Ronald Mootoo of EduTalk. Remember, on Facebook, it is EduTalk Voice. Check it out. Sunday, school is back in session. And on behalf of the TTT team, we want to thank you for joining us. Thank you for tuning in.